Yeah, Raiders. That's awesome. I'm a Giants fan, so you got my guy. You got Pierce.
He's his story is just hits me right in the solar plexus. Compton. He's an LA Raider guy. That's when I got into him too. So I just, the whole vibes of the city growing up in those days. Like, it was like,
did you grow up in LA?
Yeah, well, Santa Monica, so a beach,
cool.
a beach town. But yeah, I'm LA through and through. Yeah, UCLA.
So how did it all begin?
You mean my acting?
How'd the acting begin?
I sort of just found my peeps, in school, in like Hebrew school. Like as a little kid, I was always, comfy in front of the crowd, rather play someone else than share the truth about my fucking tortured soul. How it usually is for the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I got real lucky. It was good. I will say this. I'm a big believer in the power of arts in schools.
Yeah.
And the creative minds of people. And luckily that was a big thing, in my era, good theater program, there were strong music programs. So a lot of artists came out of my high school was Santa Monica High. Like my class dude was, basically, Emilio Estevez was like probably the most famous from my, but Sean Penn a year older, Robert Downey a couple years younger, Rob Lowe, Charlie Sheen a few years later. I mean,
wow.
Ollie Rob. We had an epic group and the musicians. And so we were Fast Times at Ridgemont,
Yeah, you were.
So anyway, that was my roots. Then UCLA, I joined a theater company or founded one with my buddies, most kind of famously in terms of his early movie stardom, funded it was Tim Robbins. And so
no way.
Tim's like my older brother, man. I owe a lot of my success for Tim's belief in me as a young actor, college age. Like we were kind of the jockey clique, and we were being taught in theater school that go do it. And we just did it. And I mean, Jack Black came out of our group. He's a few years younger than us, but we started working with Jack like 12. And if you know today,
awesome.
Cage was like an old roommate of mine, and we did shows together. Yeah. I mean,
I was just listening to them last night. Like, I love them, and I'm an accountant, so it's like a really hell time of the year. I work a lot of hours, so I just listen to the music, and man, I've loved ever since they came out. The show on HBO, man, so good.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant dudes, and old friends. And I will say this: a lot of my success in the business is directly related to theater, starting in the theater, entertaining, understanding that my job as a storyteller is to entertain the audience, do the best you can, have a good time, and I still definitely feel that about what I do. When I get a chance to play, it's always play for me, these characters I get to do. There's nothing more exciting than action. It's kind of tightrope. It's a tightrope. So,
did you do improv? Was there improv in your
lot of
group
improv?
That you did?
Of the gang worked. We worked in Whiteface and a Commedia dell'arte style for many years, where we would have, before we'd even take the stage, we'd have to have a complete image of the character we were working on that night. And a lot of times we'd take source material and then improv off it.
Nice.
And then the guys that were writers, primarily Tim, Adam Simon, who's a producer, writer, director of many things, Michael Schlitt, all these characters, if they were working on a show, the writers, Robert White, Bob White, they would watch the improvs, and they would, in the old days, record it. And then what was good, they kept and worked into the characters. And it was a neat way to work. And we did shows like that for a long time. And a lot of the young Hollywood worked with us along the way. And so it really was do these plays, Thursday through Sunday, and that would fuel the early auditions of my career, the Seinfelds, the
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt, the first few movies. I mean, John Cusack, who I had the privilege of working with for years, him and Tim, they got me hired on Tapeheads, one of my very first
Oh,
features.
really? That's cool.
A SAG card that way. So, yeah.
Back in the day, like I've talked to casting directors, and like I'm sure there's a lot that you know their names, but this one lady has a very familiar name, Fern Champion. Does that ring a bell at all?
Legend.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. Like of all of the names, but she was telling me like back in the day, like what made her different when she was casting for comedy movies. She was like the early person to go to the improv. She'd hit up Mitzi Shore, be like, "Hey, who's the new guy?" That's where she found Spade to put in one of the Police Academy movies. Did you have somebody come out to?
Well, there were a lot. Like we would do
theater?
shows. Yeah, casting directors would come usually on Thursday nights. You know,
that's awesome.
My theater group, which was Tim and Johnny Cusack, Carrie Armstrong. So this was 1985-ish. Wow. We all got invited to Saturday Night Live to try but John and Tim really didn't want to do it. I don't know what happened. I wasn't ready personally. But what an eye opener,
That's awesome.
It was the year they hired, I think Kevin Nealon came on that year, maybe even Phil Hartman's first year.
Holy shit. Do you remember so you did it? You did it did you do it just out there?
I just got flown out and then kind of crashed and burned,
Oh, that's cool. You actually got to do it there. So that means you made it through the first pass. Because usually they'll set up like
the casting director saw me on stage. That's what I'm saying to you. This is what the equivalent of going to the improv. She came to our little theater in Skid Row, off Skid Row in downtown LA at the time. And the show, I mean, Johnny Hughes was in the show, Carrie, Tim was the director. I played this kind of like Max Enormous, this kind of Trumpian narcissist that puts on like I had a celebrity space shuttle. Our shit was way ahead. We were lefty punk rocks, theater and way ahead of the curve, Burrow. We were satire. One of my most famous characters was a like 350-pound Pentecostal preacher. And and we took that show. I did that in New York at the Public. We were in the main festival at Edinburgh, late 80s, and so that was my roots into it, and
that's rad. You got to audition at SNL. That must have been so weird with no audience, right? Because it's just 4 people with notebooks taking notes.
Stage there, some of the writing, the cast, must have been 20 people watching.
Oh, okay.
I would think. I can't. I mean, it's hard to remember. It was a bit it was. I hadn't done a lot of auditions for anything. I had gotten my equity card and started as a professional on stage. And that audition happened before I even had an agent for theatrical rep. So because of that, Tim connected me to one of his first agents, and that became my rep. I mean, these guys, Tim Robbins really is like, I mean, I owe a lot to Tim being a mensch, helping his friends, being a loyal dog.
Because he did Howard by this point, right? He did Howard the Duck already by 87. Howard the Duck was already out, I would think.
Yes. The Howard the Duck. See, he's a few years older. What year was Howard the Duck? 85?
I'm guessing 85. Usually I was born in 86. Usually all the movies that I like are like my favorite ones are usually like the year I was born, the year before. 86 it came out.
Okay, so 86. So that would have been the year after. 86 summer of, maybe that's right, spot on actually. So anyway, there was a lot of stuff happening,
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
At that time, I want to say I'm 23 years old, 24. Some of my early stuff. just about to get cracking in the next year or so as a professional.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
was that always the goal? Was it always TV, film? Because I know some people, it's like theater. It was, yeah. Because theater is like you get the energy. Like I've only done like improv a few times when I lived out in Portland, but there's like this weird thing. It's almost like everyone's looking at me, and you're getting that gratification right away. Like you work on a movie sometimes, you don't know if people are gonna like or you're gonna get cut. Sometimes your scene gets cut from a movie.
A lot of it's out of your control. There's editing, there's camera angles, there's other, star people that are more famous that are going to get, money shot, close ups, what you're bringing to it, what's your part of the story. But yeah, growing up in LA, for sure, the movies and TV always my thing.
Oh yeah, no
question. That's what was my dream. Now, becoming a student of theater and finding my way through the theater, I realized that we are all. On stage, we have way more control as the artist. And so and also you get the instant feedback at the end of the night. And there's nothing better, than a chance to do some of all of it in your career. Right. The fact is that more people will see like a shitty movie or a bad TV show appearance, than probably all my stage work put together. Even if you're playing big theaters, So just one, Seinfeld was, when those guys talk about a great thing I was lucky to be part of, the Seinfeld stuff, that was 40 million viewers a week, and that was the rating of the football game. Buffalo, they were out for 40 million now. And that was NBC's the Thursday night number. So viewership,
which is insane.
Yeah. So 40 million, you'd never pack that in the theater for your whole career. Like no matter how.
No, never. So you said like this is right on the brink. So it looked like you had Perfect Strangers, which I watched. It's so fun when I talk to people that were in that era of TV. That era of TV is like,
God, it was fun.
It's never going to be replicated. Like there's just like this weird vibe of it, like that. Your Night Court appearances. But was that the first time you were on set? Was it Perfect Strangers or Cross My Heart? They were both in '87.
Was my first television.
Okay,
that was I shot that in '87, I want to say, and then, but I had done in that January. It's interesting. I was doing theater at the turn of that year at this place called the Mark Taper Forum, which is a big theater in Los Angeles, the Music Center, and it was 800-seat theater. And so I finished that show, and then pretty short order after that, I got Tapeheads, Cross My Heart, the Universal movie with Marty Short, and this other movie called The Underachievers. I think it came out.
Oh, I see that on here.
Yeah, it's real fun, dude. That was like, I'm the main bad guy. I think I'm married to Barbara Streisand's sister, Eddie Albert.
Oh,
it was
really?
like coke-fueled 80s shit, man. That was an eye-opener, man. That movie was an eye-opener, bro. So I did all that at like right at the same time, basically. It was really rad. And,
you were busy.
Got going, and then I landed a couple months after that the TV stuff and started doing that. Fun. I'm lucky to be typecast, right? The key thing in Hollywood is be typecast. Have a type. The casting director, the Fern Champions, if she knew that sleazy bald guys, I'm going to get a call.
Yeah,
right? And so that's what you want. You just want to get a shot, and then because everybody's good. That's the thing. A lot of good players, and especially when you're my age now, everybody's a baller. They still wouldn't be in the game. So, give respect.
No, I agree. It's like it's good to be. In some cases, it's like I've talked to actors that it's like they always play a lawyer. They always play like a certain thing, and sometimes they're like, but. Yeah, I wish I could play other things, but I'm getting work. So it's like one of those weird things,
Like part of the thing is like crusty guys with hearts of gold. You know, they're memorable roles, but they're not, you know, they come around once every few years potentially. And so, but that's part of the journey, man. I mean, it's like when you're young and sexier or whatever, you know, then I was always I played a lot of weird boyfriend. I'd be like the shaved head biker boyfriend, or I would put a wig on and did that to audition for Sledgehammer.
Oh, you know? I told you that show. It's a shame. There must be something with whoever owns the rights, because it's not on any streaming. You can't bind it. I watched like it looked like somebody ripped a VHS onto YouTube. It was really funny. Like the humor was like very like not Police Academy, Naked Gunish, the comedy, like the fourth wall types of jokes. And
I didn't remember. All I remember really was Davy Jones, getting to hang with Davy Jones on that episode. It was the most, and that I auditioned basically with like a wig. I forget even where maybe from the Actors Gang, to be honest with you. I have those are the days of Polaroids. I have this Polaroid book, and I have some good Polaroids from that one, you know.
Oh, that's rad. Yeah, just so many cool movies. Even the Meet the Hollowheads. Like, I just talked to the director's son, Rob Berman.
Oh, Rob.
I talked to Rob, which I never knew that their family is like royalty in special effects. Like Rob's grandfather worked on the Wolfman sequel
dude,
in the 40s.
Barney, I think, won a frickin' Oscar, dude.
Yeah, he did Planet of the Apes.
Barney did Actors Gang with me. He was in some shows, and he did, you know, some of our.
Oh, really?
I mean, everything's connected. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, it is. It definitely
in
is.
In a lot of ways, right? I mean, there's a lot of connections, and it's kind of off the connections that you meet people, and
that's how you get work too. You know, like the casting directors remember you, but then maybe some director will be like, "Hey, we need this guy. I know that he's going to do the job."
Trust me, it's harder now, because now it's like there's like all the kind of algorithm to who the value is in the show. So you got to be right for the part. And that's just the attitude the artist needs to take to pursue it. Because, you know, it's like I say, the business isn't always fun of acting, because you're not going to win all the time. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not right for the part, man, you know? So.
But you got to enjoy it. Like you said, when you have that, when you're on, you're on, you know?
Dude,
like when you have those opportunities, you just got to say yes.
There's a great saying, and I'm sure you might have heard a version of it from somebody, but they pay you for the waiting. And the acting you're supposed to do for free. Right?
That sounds good.
It's good. You have a positive mindset. Like, where else would you rather be? You know, sometimes you have to wait to contribute your moment. You're doing it. The crew, it's a team sport. It's one thing I love about, you know, the camaraderie that was on it. When you work on a show for a while, you get to know these people. Maybe like the Pirates crew is the same crew for the 3 years.
I bet.
Same camera guys, same gaffers. You know, you get to be friends with these people outside of it. So that energy, and especially when you're friends with your castmates off screen, it really translates on screen to the chemistry. When you got some dirt on your friends, like you have you just had dinner or broke bread, or you know their baby, or you know what I mean? It's like, so
they had one too many glasses of wine. They told you stories that they shouldn't have, and
I'm sure we're all guilty of that. You know, because it's all good time business. So good energy is key.
Yeah.
You know, good energy is a key to surviving as an artist. And you know, you have to enjoy the journey, man, because the journey is the destination. And, you know, gratitude, when I started practicing gratitude as a discipline, then I was just more at peace with just the moment because you're always hungry. It's never enough, bro. Acting in, unfortunately, Hollywood, man, it's never enough. It feels good.
Yeah.
It's the neatest thing ever. I'll tell you that. You know,
It's
it's
addicting.
great.
I'm sure it is. When you get off set, you're probably like, "Hey, when's my next audition?" Because it's
Yeah, well,
like you're not,
and also like, let's say this. Let's when it connects with the audience, right? So being at a convention at Dragon Con when your TV show's like a hit, or walking that line, sign it, for all the press at a Pirates premiere at Disneyland. I mean, it's just, you have to enjoy it, because it's like, it would be so disrespectful, right, to not really just enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, half of life is just showing up with a good attitude, bro. It's a winning.
Yeah.
It's a way to win daily for everybody. Just do the best
When
you
was
can.
the first time when was the first time you got noticed on the street? I'm sure there must have been something in the late 80s or 90s. Somebody said, "Hey, you're the guy from Night Court," or
Tales
oh,
from
I bet, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was around 1990. I want to say that was I was actually on a plane flight with my mother to her hometown of Baltimore to go see some relatives that were getting up in age, and accompanying my mom, a whole detail of Secret Service agents wanted my fucking picture on the airplane. It was like there were no digital cameras. It was like, "You're on Tales from the..." I was like, "Yeah, pictures." Yeah, that was the first time I remember that. So that was Tales. Pretty heady experience.
I do miss. That's awesome. I do miss like old technology. My wife's a teacher, so she's having the kids like use actual cameras for like an after school club she started.
Though, I have a new like iPhone, whatever, 15 Pro, and my camera nerd buddy, who's like an ultimate camera guy, right, and a cinematographer, he's like, "Dude, that's what I would have." He goes, "That's the best camera." I was like, so it's shocking, because like now I don't think it's stigmatized just to take everything on your iPhone, and because it's a high quality.
I know.
Never know.
But back in the day, you had to like almost like point, and hopefully in 2 weeks when you develop it, it's a good photo, because if it doesn't come out good,
you have photo maps, man. Little huts where you take your film.
Oh yeah, you drop them in, yeah.
You could drop them in, or you hand it to the guy, and then they would process it, or you would take it to a corner guy who actually. I mean, my brother had a dark room in the closet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How about like for like oh yeah, me too, because you could see it right away and you know exactly what it is. So how about like auditioning tips? Because I would say your character, the characters that you play, there's just a way you deliver the lines. Is there a way? Is that like something that you just developed from like the theater days when you were doing some of those like outlandish characters, like you said, or?
I think it's all. I want to say that's a gift.
Yeah.
Like just always. Yeah, I don't know. I don't try to figure that one out necessarily.
Yeah.
I definitely am I'm in the character. I'm not a methody guy unless I need to be, but it's fun to put on the other character. So I never. My one rule is I make my choices not as me.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Be the character, like whatever that is, You can't really get caught acting these days. I think you could a little. The 3-camera setup was a little more theatrical. The demands of the acting right now is super hyper real. So you're either the guy or you're not the guy. You have to be real vulnerable. You have to be available. Penetrate the screen, with your energy in some way. Yeah. And have courage, that it takes a lot of courage. I respect other performers, and I respect the desire to go for it. It's a scary business, right? So
yeah. You never know if it's going to be welcomed. Like Matthew McConaughey losing all that weight, people are going to be like, "Yeah, that's a little weird," but people embraced what he did, But it's just, I always think of that, like especially method people, like what's like the deepest method or like research that you did? Obviously, when you're in pirate, it's not like you're talking to, you can't like call up a pirate and see how you do it. But were there any roles like that you ever like did any like deep research at all?
I mean, no.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where I go for my clues. History of the period. I like historical stuff. I like looking at paintings of it. I like to see the way they wear their clothes. Obviously there's, different forms of speech when certain, time periods. You can't go like there's a famous theater director, Tyrone Guthrie, used to direct plays, a lot of Shakespeare and classics out of this theater in Minneapolis, I want to say. Anyway, there's a quote I said, he goes, he loved directing Shakespeare because the actor can't go and say, step on the gas. You know what I mean? It's just like, you got to be true to it. Yeah.
To the period.
I like the play.
Yeah.
I like the play. I like the listening and getting, inspired by somebody else's good choices. Be generous. It's a generous sport. That's why for improv, you're not allowed to say no.
Yeah.
You're being generous. Okay. Shitty idea, but let's run with it, instead
let's
of,
roll with it. Yeah. 100%. So what was, obviously this was something you were going to do no matter what, like this career, but was there like a show or a movie you worked on when you're like, okay, I could really do this for the rest of my life?
It's funny. No, I mean, I sort of knew from
jump that this is you.
I mean, kind of like once I got going, I mean, I think from the theater, I knew I was capable, probably 18, 19, 20-year-old guy, 21, 22, in that range. Self-doubt was for later in life.
Yeah. I bet you're young, fearless.
Yeah, I felt pretty much like it was inevitable to a certain extent. And that was just plain fucking, really cockiness and, that it took, I wanted it so bad too, like admitting and owning and kind of just, I've always owned the desire to try, to want to work. Yeah. So,
and you were always working ever since 87. Every year, there's like a ton of credits every year. You're doing like 10, 11 shows and stuff.
I've the last couple years were slow, and I had a great run there from with Once Upon a Time, really through up until about or something, where I got, so there was a lot of good karma used up in all the times they called Grumpy into the lineup, but it only takes one business, right? Your life changes with one phone call, one email. You stay positive. I mean, I live on the beach out in California. I get my dog out there. I'm out there 2-3 times taking pictures, enjoying it. Again, when I started practicing the gratitude, instead of being mad at the world like I'm being owed or entitlement, I think it's a natural antidote to any sense of entitlement that you get from the getting a few gigs in this game,
Yeah.
So then it makes you hungry, you love it. It's nothing to, it's definitely been, man, I've really been lucky too. Way more lucky than good, That's the key. I'd rather be lucky than good, dog.
Yeah. Were there some moments that were super luck? Like just thinking like Seinfeld, was that just an open casting call and a bunch of people went up for the role of Mike?
I mean, actually, the Seinfeld casting's hilarious because I didn't want to fucking go.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know? And it was a total Seinfeld episode worth of karma. To be honest.
Really?
Yeah. It was in. I don't. Do you know LA at all? So like,
no, I don't know LA that much.
Anyway, rush hour is gnarly in LA. Famously bad traffic.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. Yeah.
And I want to say the audition was in the valley, which is against, you're going with all the heavy traffic at like 5:30 on a Friday. So I had a shit attitude and I didn't even want to go because of the drive. And I literally worked myself up into this, like, and then I walked into that audition, and before I could even open my mouth, it was a room of Larry Charles, Jerry, Larry David. I mean, it was a heavy room. I mean, I didn't even know. It became way heavier because this was season 3 when the show went meteoric.
Yeah, with this one, yep.
And I walked in, and before I could even say it was the parking space where I'm fighting with George about going back. This is the karma you learn, right? I didn't want to be there. I mean, I didn't want to do the drive, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of had this thing. As soon as I walked in, Larry Charles just goes, man, are you the guy from that Tales from the Crypt? And I'm like, yeah. And then for the next 10 minutes, he talks about my Tales from the Crypt and how much he loved it. It was the coolest thing. He set me up. And then as soon as I opened my mouth, I do have parking issues growing up in LA, it's a tough place to park. So I understood the character very well. And I just, it was a yeller, and I'm good at the yelly parts. And And that was basically the last time I'd take a rush hour audition. I'll drive 4 hours. Lesson learned, lesson learned. And I tell that story to make fun of myself and my entitled, actors. Shit,
What is so funny about that show, and I think that's why it's still, not saying the other shows, sitcoms from that time, like, don't hold up, they do, but there were so many real life moments. Like, that's something that anytime you're in a parking lot, you have that same thing. You have the person that pulls up and, like, they think they're going to back in, and that just your
observational comedy that Jerry made. Yeah. And of course, Larry David's a genius. And those writers, that crew of, the Greg Daniels scripts and just the epic, if you just look at the who's who, the Carol Leifer and all these amazing writers, television is always about the writing stable. They stir the pot of television because you need 20 good episodes. Movies are driven by directors. Directors have the power in the movie, like a general marshaling an army from the script, getting that script to the certain spot, getting all the money to get, and you're driving that train as a director. And on stage, that's the actor's medium. As soon as the dress rehearsal's over, the director's on to the next show, and the stage manager gives you your notes. You're on your own after opening night. So, for Seinfeld and actually same with Pirates, great writing.
Yeah.
Great writing. That's a hallmark of a lot of the stuff that resonates with my audience. And it's one of the things that gives me the buzz about being an actor is to say Mamet, talk like Mamet words, or talk like Shakespeare words, or talk like, Larry David words,
Yeah. That's what I was asking about the line delivery. Just the way you can make your voice go very high and deep, all within like a second. When the Michael Jordan is so phony, and then you're like very calm in a way, but it's high pitched. And then as soon as he doesn't buy it, the way you yell at Kramer, that's so good. That show is unbelievable. But no, the audition process. Quick story. I'm sure you've worked with. Do you know Larry Hankin? And I'm sure you bumped into him one of the.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I helped him write his memoirs, and his Seinfeld story is like yours worked out. His worked out too because he played Kramer in the series. He played Kramer, but they made him keep going back like 5 times, and he got to the 6th time, and Larry kept making him slam the door like Kramer does. He said, "Can you come back in and do it again? Can you do it again?" And they go, "Okay, can you wait in the hallway?" And he went out there, and he's like, and he goes to the reception, and he goes, "Who's that fucking bald guy in the back with the glasses?" And the woman goes, "Oh, that's Larry David. He's the creator of the show." And he's like, Holy shit! Thank God I didn't say anything in the audition.
Was that for to actually be Kramer for the
That
at the
was to
start?
be Kramer within the show, like
Oh, okay.
when they were
So
doing
it
the
was,
pilot, like those two
yeah,
episodes
yeah.
within it.
I mean,
Yeah,
Jeremy Piven's George in that, and I went and Elena
yeah, I
Stipe,
know. Which is
who's Elaine. I went to college. She was at UCLA with me at theater.
oh really? Yeah, I always think about Jeremy Jeremy Piven looks older in that, just the way his hair and everything than he
Yeah,
even does like now.
yeah. Well, they Georged him out, I think, for sure.
They Georged him out pretty good.
Yeah,
But man, so like with Pirates, like obviously, like you said, like your career, you're like, yeah, you're always busy, but that is something that is on a different stratosphere. Like
yeah.
to be in a film like that, because I'm sure you worked on some bigger budget movies over the years, but that is like,
Waterworld. I mean, Waterworld was big,
oh
but I
yeah,
didn't part
yeah,
in that one. But oh, nothing like Pirates. I mean, nothing, and especially for me, Pirates the 2 and 3 when I'd already because the first one. I mean, I think that the popularity of Pintel and Rigetti like was pretty amazing to get noticed and then upgraded. So that was pretty fucking cool. I admit that I really got a kick out of that to get to
yeah,
be on Johnny's team and to get to see him like be the biggest movie star in the world and to Keith Richards and just I don't know, it was pretty sweet and it hasn't stopped. I'm a pirate for life. I mean, it was still living the ride, just proud of how much. And again, that was about the audience loving it. That was
yeah.
about Jerry Bruckheimer. That was about Ted and Terry, these writers that have written some of the most incredible characters in Hollywood history. Them writing "Hello, Puppet," casting Kira, casting Orlando, getting to work with Jeff Rush. I mean, there was a lot of magical stuff went down, right? So, and then Disney not believing necessarily that they didn't know what Jack Sparrow,
Yeah.
they bet on Haunted Mansion that year, right? So that,
yeah.
well, in those days, I think studios killed their own movie because they would have a franchise coming out that would already be at Taco Bell before the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're pitching me a toy, but I don't know these characters. It's kind of an oversell, right? And with Pirates,
yeah.
we didn't have any toys. We had no merch, right? But what happened was the audience goes, wait a minute. I'm going to go see that again and again. And yeah, it was pretty amazing time.
It was an experience. Like you said, like the people they cast that were like the up and coming actors, they obviously went on to do a ton of great stuff. You had people that you knew. You had like Jeffrey Rush, and it just visually, it's like a really cool. Now, was that filmed? Did you film that in that big tank in Mexico?
No. We filmed. We filmed. I mean, the first movie we filmed mostly in Hollywood. Then we were on location in the Caribbean. Master and Commander. The tank in Mexico was taken by Master and Commander when we were shooting the second and third pirate movies.
Okay.
So
Waterworld was that tank now?
No, Waterworld was Hawaii.
Oh, cool.
On the Big Island. And not in a water tank for the most part on the ocean. That's why it was expensive because there were no computers. I mean, filmmaking changed on the first Pirates. Okay, the skeletal pirate zombies. We were animated, layered film, shot on film. By the time the computer started, that's when ILM got back in the Oscar race. They got back in it. The guys that invented Adobe Photoshop were like the special effects supervisors on the movie. It was kind of that. It was Photoshop effects, but to erase a background was an expensive proposition per shot. Now, it's nothing. You can do it on your iPhone.
Now it's nothing.
Right. So your iPhone, this iPhone's more powerful than the stuff they were dealing with 20 years ago by far.
Yeah, dude. Film to shoot on film back in the day. That's why like Canon Film Group would never go over 90 minutes because that extra roll you had to buy was, they didn't want to put that in the budget. So yeah, cell phone got $1,200 cell phone. You can shoot so much. It's crazy.
4K resolution, broadcast quality. Yeah.
Insane.
So to be a part of that, to see the success, the artistry, the huge sets. I mean, oh my God, dude. And for being a child of, for lack of a better word, of Hollywood, seeing like growing up with like Marcus Welby or Turning on the Streets that I drove to school on, or The Rookies, or a lot of TV stuff, all the Rockford Files. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. How quick did you know that there was going to be a sequel? Because that movie definitely right away. I don't know if that was one of those word of mouth movies. Was that like not slow, but like open and then got bigger and bigger and bigger?
Yeah. It was in the theaters for like 9 months, 10 months, something like that. It built by far. I don't know the exact. I'm sure it made more money in its second month than it did in its first, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was a rarity. In fact, it led directly to the second Pirates, Dead Man's Chest, was the first movie to be on multiple screens in multiplexes.
Wow.
Because Pirates was 2 hours 30, 2 hours 40, something like that, the first one, costing the theater owners an extra screening because it was longer. You said that about the Canon thing. It's another reason why they orders to get an extra screening in, more butts in the seats for the theater owner. However, the theater owner goes, wait a minute, why do we want to have, in these now, this was when the multiplexes started happening too. So before 2005, 3, there would be like 1, 2, or 3 screens in a movie theater complex. Maybe 4. That was a lot. The 10 to 12 screen concept was later in the 2000s, right? And so then they started going, well, we'll put Pirates on 6 of the screens.
Oh my God.
Take advantage. So Dead Man's Chest was the first that I can remember that they did that with too. So it really responsible for a lot of interesting changes in the game, for sure.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it was cool to be a part of.
Just to be in a movie that is just, I don't know, like bigger than a movie in a sense. Like I didn't know about like what you just said. I didn't know about any of those, but I just think of a movie like that. It's like, it's up there with the Batmans and like, it's like these rare, like, I don't know. It's cool. I saw them in the movie theater. It was like an experience,
We're a top whatever 20 franchise. I mean, I'm not going to be, we're not. I wouldn't say, like, you got so many to choose from, but put us in the top 20 somewhere. Some people might put Harry Potter. Some people might put us number 1 as their fave. I don't know, but like just to be included on the list of your Star Wars, your Potter.
It's the best. It's the best pirate franchise.
By far. Yeah. But not even close.
Nobody's tried it again, right? Nobody tries to do a pirate like movie.
I mean,
has there been a pirate movie since the 2000s?
Not a major studio. There's no reason.
I guess the Tom Hanks movie, is that a pirate when they took the guys when they took his ship?
That was rad.
Pirates, I guess.
That was yeah, that's against. Yeah, I mean, there's been pirates. Talk about history, but ever since man went to sea for commerce, there's been pirates.
Yeah,
riverboat, Nile, whatever, all the way back. But the golden age of piracy was just a real short time, when after the Spanish Armada was destroyed. And there was like a few-year period when there were just free agents robbing everybody, and that was the golden age. Very short period.
What a scary time to be like robbed at sea. That's pretty frightening. It's like you can get out and run. I guess you could swim, but you're not going to swim that fast. At least in a car, you can try to run somewhere.
Those videos of those tankers going and the Somali pirates coming and trying to board them, like thing. Yeah. South China Sea. They'll take over your yacht and turn it into a floating casino or whatever. There's a lot of crazy Malaccan pirates, Malaccan Straits. Got to be careful out there, man.
You got to be careful on your yachts. So do you have any favorite roles over the year? Obviously, like I'm sure that there's like the pirates and like the bigger movies. I like projects. To say
are
there any other ones?
My next, the one I don't know
your
about.
Next role. I like that. Nice.
Yeah, always my favorite. My next.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they're all fun in their own way.
Or something different you got to play. Like you said,
on Action. Have you ever seen Action? Do you know that?
Oh, that was the one with Jay Moore, Jersey guy, right?
Yeah. That's Bobby G. He's always like, I did full frontal male nudity on network TV. That's on my resume. First ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Who did? You did it?
I did it. Yeah. Action, dude. Seriously, look it up.
Oh, wow. I gotta check it out. Really? And it was that was on UPN, right? That was a UPN show or
Fox?
Fox, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty wild. How'd they get away with that?
Because he blocks it, and it was so edgy. Really, truthfully, to be told, we should have been a cable show, and we'd probably still be on the air. It was really funny. Buddy Hack. We had a great cast. Ileana Douglas. I mean, it's a pretty good show.
Oh, she's great.
But the year before, I think the networks all passed on Sopranos, right? So Sopranos went to HBO. I think it was like CBS. I'm not sure about this story.
Thank God, could you imagine that?
Yeah, I could. That's what I'm saying. Like this, then they're always a step late, and so then they were looking for edgy. So we ended up on Fox. And then the ownership of Fox switched and they went more family. I forget what the deal was. I don't know. I mean, it was a bit above my pay grade, but that character of Bobby G was a lot of fun to play.
Check it out. The cast is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Buddy Hackett, Jack Plotnick's really cool.
Yeah, Jack. I mean, it was definitely one to really investigate. There's a killer guest stars. It was basically the story of Joel Silver and his adventures in Hollywood. But Jay ended up playing. They originally wanted Oliver Platt to play that part, if I remember correctly. And anyway, I love Jay. I love doing it. He was uber guy to work with, and we had a lot of fun. So that show is actually kind of sneaky long. It's a pretty good show. It's sneaky. You go like, wait, I wasn't expecting it to be this good, because it was canceled.
Yeah, check it out.
A lot of it had to do with it was a Fox show, and but it was owned by Columbia TriStar, I want to say. So then it was more expensive for them. It wasn't a Fox produced show. So anyway, there was a lot of interesting stuff. That was a fun one. I like being on Californication a lot.
That was a good show.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun one. Star Trek, of course, was always fun and interesting. 4 hours.
Do you go to any Star Trek cons?
I have
like
been
Comic Cons for Star Trek.
Proud to be, because I appeared on all 4 of the spinoffs, the old ones. I haven't done the new show, but I did Next Gen, 4 or 5 appearances, Enterprise, Voyager, and Deep Space.
Nice.
I have a fairly good Trek Wiki or whatever page. Pretty good.
Their fans are the most dedicated fans. I interviewed an actress. I think she was in 1 episode, and she's like, Doug, you wouldn't believe how much fan mail I get. She played I was in a Green Alien, for I was on set for 4 hours. She's like, you wouldn't believe how many autographs they want and like going to all these cons. It's really amazing.
The whole fandom, it started with the Trek fan, the Trekkie, the Trekker. Yeah. Because they were the first show that kind of they had the first fan cons in the early 70s. They were so far ahead of it. Yeah, they're really responsible for a lot of the Comic-Con movement. And the whole concept of, fans bringing a show back or, that kind of thing. Yeah, the original fans of the show.
It's pretty rad. And the stuff they did on air, like the first interracial kiss.
Yeah.
Pretty insane. Like how big that show really.
Honestly, I still think Trek, if you look at that should be the cabinet. It needs to reflect what the people, the country, the world's a mix. You got Sulu, you got Uhuru, you got aliens,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I do appreciate that world and its inclusivity. It's one of the great things about the Trek franchises that it always maintained, some sort of trying to make peace with the different realms of the universe.
Yeah. Even one, I think it's the sixth one. It's like Christopher Plummer as one of the bad guys in the makeup, and then you had Red Foreman. I forget his name, but he plays like like this. He looks like an alien doggish in a way.
Yeah,
it's so cool. Some of the funky things.
Yeah, the Westmores. I mean, who did the makeup on that and led that? That's another legendary family of makeup artists. All the the Trek.
And one movie I had to mention to you because I think it's not a good sequel, but I think it's amazing. The people, whoever was the casting director, was like so amazing to put this cast of characters in RoboCop 3.
Oh, RoboCop 3.
Bradley Whitford, Rip Torn. Stephen Root, you and Jeff Garland, and all the cops are in there.
Yeah, actually, I got that because I went to college with the director.
With Fred really? Decker. Oh, you went to school with Fred Decker?
Yeah. He was at UCLA when I was there. Yeah.
Holy shit!
So I think he was the same age.
His whole thing was like that too. So he blew up around that same time too because he was doing
Shane Black,
Monster Squad. Yeah,
and Black with us, all the Pata guys, awesome. All those dudes. Yeah. So we had the Actors Gang, which was my group, and there was that Pata guys, Shane Black, Fred, Chris Matheson. I mean, this is a lot of people, dude. A lot of people that turned out. Yeah, it's neat. A little bit of a golden age.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you don't get that anymore, but I think now it's more like. Not saying anybody can act because it's still a hard thing to do, but there's like opportunities like with the cell phone, anybody can kind of shoot, maybe get out there. But it's just like there was like this hub. You go to LA, like back in the day, it was like, who was it? Harrison Ford flipped a coin, and if it was like heads, he was going to go to LA, tails, he was going to go to New York, and then he ended up going to obviously LA, and the rest is history. But there's so many people that had to make that choice. Do I want to do theater? Or do I want to go there? And some people started in New York, like William Sadler, and then got to a point and he was like, yeah, I want to kind of be in movies. And then let's change,
Yeah.
It's different.
I was grow up here, but I like to say, man, just growing up here, you're just as far away. You might as well be, unless you have family in the biz, you're not, there's no guarantee, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of nepotism in the game, but, the average person, you just get lucky. Somebody sees you at the right time, and then you have a right look, or you fit a niche, or
and then you nail it. You get your opportunity. Luck can only get you so far.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you something.
Nail it.
It's a business where you gotta like nail it every fucking time.
Yeah,
that's the deal. Even if you don't get the job, nail the jokes. Be funny. Every time. A lot of times, I mean, if you're not funny, then they'll rewrite the joke, right? Because maybe it's not funny. But your job is, especially like a sitcom or depending, you're either there to set the joke or make the joke,
Yeah. Now, one question this has been so much fun. I'm so happy we finally connected, dude. Like with the strike and everything. But one thing I always like to ask people, like throughout your career, did you ever like keep mementos? Did you like save scripts? Wardrobe or like
I mean, wardrobe you're not usually allowed to keep unless you're the star and they give it to you because
you might
you don't want to, just in case they want to, like, you hope they call you back. I'll get like a sword from my pirate movies. I got my axe from Dungeons and Dragons. I got a few little things here and there. I don't really want to carry a lot of crap around through life though,
I know.
You know, the older you get, I think you want to shed. You need less, and especially now with digital. I mean, boxes of some photos, digitize them. You can carry a little thumb drive. You
Hell
know,
yeah, man.
you got, so yeah, less is more in terms of that. I have a ring from Pirates, kind of like the class ring we got. I got a couple of my action
That's
figures.
cool.
A modest but very sentimental collection of shit.
An action figure. What was that like? Did they like approach you and be like, "Hey, we need to take these photos for," or they just did it off a photo from set,
Well, you actually get
or
scanned.
just watching the movie?
For Pirates, that was I'd already this. I did a movie called Warriors of Virtue.
Okay.
So I got my first action figure. This was my first action figure from Warriors of Virtue.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
From this character Mantos. I mean, it was made by a toy guy. I mean, there's a bunch of the pirate ones. I don't know. I was like not sentimental about that. I let my kid play with them.
That's cool.
They all had their heads ripped off and destroyed by the time.
How old your kid?
Well, now he's a teenager, but when he was young, you know, I gave him all my toys to play with. They're
that must have been cool that like the timing of that movie. Well, he's probably probably the third one, right? He was probably old enough to.
No, he was born after that. He was actually born in 2000. So right when the third one came out, but you know, but at that time too, there was a lot of popularity for like we went on cruises or he got to go to Disney or whatever. So he got some good stuff out of it as a young dude.
That's cool, man.
And then again, when
is he into it?
He's a rocker, man.
Acting?
He's not
really? Nice.
No, he wants to be a rock star. He's a drummer, my kid.
Is that his drum? Oh, that's him behind you, the drum set? Nice.
Yeah. It's his drums back there and kind of him and his band. He's got a band work and he's talented. So, awesome. I encourage it. I mean, I tell him nothing better you could be in your life. You could be a rock star. Everyone wants to be one. So might as well try, you know? Life's too short.
Show him that clip of Sledgehammer and ask him if you could play bass. I think you're holding a bass or a guitar.
I forget what I was. I don't know. Totally. I had no idea. Stuffed me in some tight pants.
Yeah. All right, Lee, man, it's been awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time. What's your as a football? Yeah. Huh?
Who's your team? Giants, right?
Giants. Yeah, I'm all Giants, Knicks, Yankees. I'm in Jersey. I grew up here. We moved to Oregon for a few years. We loved it out there, but we had kids, and then we're planning on having kids, and we're like, got to come back so like the grandparents can see them, you know?
Yeah, of course. Plus, it's what I mean. I don't think Jersey's rad. I like it. I love New York. It's one of my favorites.
Love Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey's cool because people think of it like whenever we go somewhere like traveling and be like, "Oh, where are you from?" It's like the armpit of America. Like when you look at the map, it looks like an armpit. But like I live on the border of PA, but I'm still only 45 minutes from New York City, so it's like,
you got Philly, you got New York, you got those killer beaches if you want to go down there to the shore.
Yeah. Sucks you have to pay for them, which is like ridiculous. So you have to pay to get on the beach in Jersey, but
you do.
You don't have to worry about that, right? You don't have to pay for beaches out in Cali, right?
I mean, as soon as I'm off here, I'm going to the beach right now to catch my sunset.
Sweet, nice, dude. Well, Lee, thanks, dude. It was so fun connecting with you. And so, who do you like? Who do you like this weekend? Obviously, you're not rooting for the Chiefs, right?
No. I mean, I do think I'm going to say my mom's from Baltimore. I do, but I think the Ravens win it in a close one. I'd actually like to see. I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't mind seeing the Lions get over.
Me too.
Just because with no Debo, I think it's possible. They lose a little explosivity, but I think the SFD will turn over Jared Goff or whatever. It's a long enough story.
No, I hope so. In the beginning, I was hoping just for those fan bases, like even though the Giants have sucked for, they had 2 good years in the last 12. They gave me more in my life than fans can see forever. Even the Yankees, I want them to win all the time. The Knicks are the one that I want to win. But no, Detroit and Cleveland, what I wanted. And then I was like, you know what? How about Buffalo, Detroit? That would have been cool. But friggin'
you know what? That's what
Buffalo
I really
blew it.
Buffalo, yeah. Unfortunately,
I feel
that
bad
kicker,
for them, dude.
I do too. But it was meant to be. was meant to be.
No, it was just that whole drive, like Diggs, who was kind of talking shit the whole year about, hey, I want the ball more and money, and he,
he just started. I don't know. I just felt like, and Gabe Davis, you couldn't count on, and Shakir's just not. He wasn't enough. I mean, honestly, to miss it like that wide right, it was perfect.
Oh, and to miss it wide right, dude. Like that's the Giants. That's how the Giants won the Super Bowl.
A lot of people are talking about the fix is in. They want Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl for sure.
Oh,
so they have the referee. There's a lot of controversy about the ref.
Oh yeah.
Saying he calls the most penalties on home teams in the league.
Oh, I know. I saw that too. It's so funny. Like nowadays, there's all these next gen stats and shit. Like back in the day, it'd just be like, oh, I don't know who the ref is today. I just want to watch the game. You don't
really bet against a home team. I don't know. 2 tough road games in a row. Baltimore probably pounds the rock a lot, and Lamar.
I think the weather's gonna be bad.
Yeah, if the weather's bad, then
that's
Lamar.
Baltimore. I think Baltimore favors because he can run and they have a good running game. Pacheco's good. He's a Rutgers kid, but
never bet against Mahomes, and Pacheco's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a New Jersey attitude when he runs the ball. Should be good games.
He's cool, man.
It's always a better weekend than the Super Bowl. Usually, 2 good games with a lot.
Dude. Yeah, because you don't have to wait till an all-day thing, and let's just hope because the Super Wild Card weekend kind of sucked. For me, it was amazing watching Dallas get smoked and the Eagles get smoked, but they were terrible games. I don't want to watch bad football, Yeah,
they were actually the only decent game was really that the only one that really went deep in the game was the Rams,
the Lions, which was like poetic. I was like, dude, are they going to lose to this freaking guy that won it out of there and then was talking crap about the city? So at least that worked out. So
Matt Stafford, though, I got to say something.
Really?
Yeah. I know. Well, I know I've met his mom and hung with his mom a few times. His sister came to my house.
That's
one time.
Cool.
I actually talked to Matt Stafford on the phone when he was in college after he won the Sugar Bowl or something. His mom put him on. So I like him. And, I mean, he played 13 years there. So it was a perfect story.
I know.
They still love him. He fought valiantly. And Detroit got the Vic, so it's kind of a perfect scenario for Matt.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
if they win, it would be really cool.
Town, it's a hard luck town.
No. All right, Rock on, Lee. Thanks. Catch your sunset, and appreciate it, dude.
Later, Bug. All right, buddy.
Have a good one, man.
Peace, bro.
Peace.